The world is closely watching what the army generals are doing in Myanmar. But apart from condemning the coup, what exactly are the world leaders doing about the Myanmar crisis? As I speak, the global community is looking for ways to mount pressure on the military junta. While the use of sanctions is one way to do that, there are also concerns that sanctions would mean the people of Myanmar would ultimately bear the brunt. The United States has warned Myanmar of additional measures. It has also decided to push for quote-unquote intense UN Security Council talks on Myanmar. The United Kingdom is looking for ways to hold the army generals accountable. It plans to stop doing business with any firms associated with the Myanmar army. In Germany, Chancellor Angela Merkel's office has described the situation in Myanmar as disturbing. It says there can be no justification for the use of lethal force on the peaceful protesters. The German Foreign Ministry even summoned Myanmar's ambassador to the country to convey this message. The foreign ministers of ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, held a special meeting with a representative of the Myanmar army. Indonesia has called for the release of the political prisoners and urged all parties to start dialogue. A month since the coup, the world is finally waking up to what's happening in Myanmar. But these statements need to translate into concrete action for the crackdown to stop. Here's more in our next report.
The U.S. is committed to using our renewed engagement here in New York, but internationally, to press the military to reverse its actions and restore a democratically elected government.
We'll continue to look at how we hold individual members of the regime to account. We're also looking at businesses from this country doing business with any of the firms in Myanmar that are controlled by the military.
What is very worrying for us is that this is a military that has a record of carrying out human rights violations with impunity, with a real lack of accountability. So we are concerned at the potential for this to get even deadlier.
And then to arrest Aung San Suu Kyi as well as her ministers and the president and charge them with walkie-talkie offenses and things like that. I don't think that's going to help solve the problem. So you really have to get back, release Aung San Suu Kyi, negotiate with her and her team, and work out a peaceful way forward for Myanmar.
International pressure on Myanmar's military junta is mounting. The world is looking for ways to punish the army generals for their actions. World leaders are shocked at the use of brutal force on peaceful protesters. This video is from Yangon. It shows protesters banging shields, preparing for an onslaught by the forces. Hiding behind a temporary barricade. The Myanmar police smashed through the barricade within minutes. The protesters had to retreat, only to face tear gas, stun grenades and rubber bullets. In the city of Dawei, the situation was no different. As protesters returned to the streets, armed with shields, they had to retreat due to tear gas. In the city of Kale, water cannons replaced tear gas. In Mandalay, a funeral was held for a mother who was shot dead by police while crossing the street. Mourners draped in cloth over the corpse, with the three-fingered salute. At least 26 people have died. Their deaths have sparked international outrage, but very little is being done to stop the violence. Individual statements by world leaders seem to be falling on deaf ears. Perhaps it's time the world came together to turn these statements into action and find a peaceful solution to the Myanmar crisis. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.